My position in the band, I was in the band from the very beginning. And Butch was early in the group. He did have a brother, and his brother ended up in our band. The truth is that his brother followed him around so much, I'm talking about Bob Martin right now, that we finally said, give him a trumpet or something, so he might as well play in the band, because everywhere we go, he is.
You can't help but think of Butch Martin without saying Bob Martin. That was his younger brother. They were just inseparable. The two of them hung around together always. You would just never see Butch doing something on his own without Bob right there.
They were wild. That's the only way to explain them. And Butch was wild. He was a wild child. And the girls did like Butch because he was a bad boy. And the girls liked the bad boys, and he was absolutely a bad boy. Butch and Bob both were bad boys, and that reflected on the stage, and I think it worked for us when we were, they were part of the charisma of the band and why we had the kind of female attention that we had when we were playing all the time were because of the bad boys in the band.
Girls just loved Butch, and he was kind of the tough guy in the group. Where a lot of the other guys are smiling on stage, doing things. Butch kind of gave that kind of tough guy look, and girls just loved that.
He was the most noteworthy because he was a Mr. Pickup Man. He was the guy who get the gals.
I remember Butch with a big smile. Again, someone who was always ready with a joke, a practical joke, a trickster, and at the same time, for the most part, took care of his musical business in his own sort of style, in a way.
Butch was a great bass player at a time where people, music hadn't evolved the way it would evolve in 10-year decades. I've been in music all of my life, and I've watched the music change, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up to this moment. And every 10 years or so, the music changes. But Butch was early on. He was listening to James Brown cuts, and he was getting the bum kinds of things, and those types of things that are really cool in the bass. And him and Johnny worked together as a team, and he was the perfect person to be our bass player.
Butch left us, I'm going to think back to say we were probably, I'm going to say it's over 40 years ago. So we were, perhaps in our mid-20s at the time that Butch prematurely is gone.
Butch passed away very, very, very young in an accident. And it was so hard, I think, when I heard that, because I actually heard it a little bit after the incident happened, and it just has never seemed real to me. But I have a lot of fond memories of Butch.
I met Butch early on in junior high school, and he was just a perfect fit. His passing was a big shock, and the thing about his passing is it happened in Clear Lake, and we always thought that maybe something might happen to Butch, but we thought it was going to go a different way. But he cleaned up his life, and he became a foreman, and he had a wife and children, and he simply went and quoted a job one night. He was a roofer and quoted a job, and on his way home he hit a ditch, and the truck spun, and he didn't make it through the spin. And we didn't hear it. It was weird the way it went down, because we didn't really hear about it right when it happened the way you usually do, and none of us got to go to the funeral. And so I think to this day we all are a little shocked, because it's one of those things where the closure wasn't the same. We didn't have the same closure. We didn't go and be able to talk about him or anything. And it was a gigantic loss for his brother Bob, because they were so close. For Bob to lose his brother was devastating for Bob. He came through it. To this day, he's a great guy, but I know it was hard on him.